I am paging Dr. Chanda.
I am the
doctor.
And I'm a licensed clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Paging Dr. Chanda podcast, all things related to the Black culture.
Revolt. The doctor in front of your name.
What's up, family? It is Dr. Chanda. Tune in for another episode of Paging Dr. Chanda. All you have to do is keep watching. But listen, if you're just watching from the outside, just peeking through the window, I need you to commit. Come all the way in the house, and I need you to subscribe, like, and shoot me a comment in the comment section. I love responding to all of your comments. I love listening and reading how much you guys enjoy the topics that I'm talking about. So yeah, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and join the tribe.
Stop scrolling for 1 second. This month, we are bringing back the psychology of Black women, the online class brought to you by yours truly, Dr. Chanda, licensed clinical psychologist. Y'all, I've been getting so many questions about why anxiety and depression presents differently in Black women. What do we do about it? How can we start to combat this? And what are some of the reasonings behind it? Listen, if you are a Black woman who has questions about anxiety and depression, it's something you experience or something your loved ones experience, or if you're a professional who works with Black women who experience anxiety and depression, I promise you this class is for you. Make sure that you sign up today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to Paging Dr. Chanda, which is available on multiple streaming platforms as well as audio platforms. I have a very special guest with me today because this month is Suicide Awareness or Suicide Prevention Month. Which one is it, Brandon?
Suicide prevention or awareness. We
or
doing
awareness. We're going to do it all here this week, all month long at the Paging Dr. Chanda show. So without further ado, I would love, Brandon, for you to introduce yourself to the people so that they can know how legit you are. Like, I didn't just grab you off the street. Like, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks first and foremost. Thanks for inviting me on the show. I appreciate you and all the work that you're doing. But hey, everyone, I'm Brandon Johnson, and I am the creator of the Black Mental Wellness Lounge, which is a YouTube page and organization really focused on supporting and having conversations around Black mental health and healing, really providing resources to our community. And that's really what I'm representing today. My 9 to 5 that I'm not representing today, but I can speak to in my bio is that, so I work as the branch chief of suicide prevention at the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, also known as SAMHSA, which is a agency within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And in that role, I also co-lead our Black Youth Suicide Prevention Initiative that really works to reduce suicides, eliminate suicides, and suicidal attempts for Black youth and young adults between the ages of 5 to 24. And other than that, born and raised Baltimore City, doing work out here around mental health, a lot of it around youth, a lot of it through the church that I attend, Morning Star Baptist Church, and all sorts of other stuff. Husband, dad, all those good things.
All the things. Okay, so you being from Baltimore, which isn't the DMV, but
it's not. We are not a part of it.
And people don't get that. And it's no shade. It's just like Baltimore is just like its own area.
We our own little thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you feel about Keith Lee and his little DMV Baltimore recap?
I mean, it was a lot, but I do want to point out that the Baltimore restaurant that he did go to, he had a great time, a great review, and so I always mess with people in DC. The Baltimore food landscape is so underrated. You know, DC is nice, it's great. Y'all got all the Michelin stars and stuff, but if you want like good old fashioned, like just good food, you got to come up the road. You got to drive up 295.
It's amazing. I literally went to Blue Moon Cafe, I think, on my birthday weekend. I had the Sweet Baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. How long did you have to wait? Because that brunch is lined up.
It was a weekday, so we got seated. I got my food. It was good. But
that's
Baltimore is underrated. But somebody said DC didn't do well because we use our pots and pans to make go-go music. So that's why our food is
go-go music.
I was like, wow.
I saw that. See, y'all gotta turn them over. Y'all gotta turn. Look, we love our DC people, we just had to mess with y'all because our spot got a glowing
It did.
review, but we
It
love
did.
y'all
It
too.
did. No, Baltimore
We
has
love
some
you.
great food. And I do appreciate the rundown that you gave us. Like you're doing amazing work with your own brand as well as things that you're doing with Samsha, as well as with the White House. Did you even mention that? We allowed to talk about
No,
it?
so as a part of that, I mean, I can mention what
Okay.
we did again with full disclaimers. I'm not
Yes.
representing them today, but we also did release the national strategy for suicide prevention that came out in April. So that was a White House initiative that we were able to put out, that Department of Health and Human Services put out, and so that was that's our strategy for the country over the next 10
Wow.
years. The last one came out in 2012. This one 2024. Next one will be 2034. And so check it out, hhhealth.gov/NSSP, and you'll be able to download it with really good information about suicide prevention as a
Yes.
whole. But again, disclaimer, not
Not
representing them
representing. You
today,
represent
but
yourself.
just in bio. And it's
Yes.
all public, and we want people to check it out.
Yes, you are doing amazing work. I just be seeing you on my timeline. So many people being able to get resources and learning more about suicide prevention and awareness, and knowing that I can say you my friend. My friend is leading that charge. I'm like, okay, bro, I see you.
Appreciate
Yes,
that.
yes. So you're doing good things.
Listen, we all trying to keep up with you.
Stop,
So
yo. Nah, I'm trying to keep up with y'all. But yeah, so suicide is like one of those touchy topics to the point where a lot of people, and this content may get censored on YouTube, a lot of people they don't even like to say the word suicide, especially on social media, because of how much it's
Mhm,
censored and suppressed. Right. And so I'm wondering for
mhm.
you, like, what are some of the myths, the common myths that you often hear when it comes to suicide and youth?
Yeah, I think the biggest one that we hear consistently is that folks feel that if I see someone struggling, someone going through some stuff, if I mention suicide to them, if I ask them the question directly and say, hey, are you having thoughts of harming yourself? Are you thinking about killing yourself? That if they didn't have the idea before, that it's going to put the idea in their
Mm,
head. And I can't stress enough how much that is, from all the literature, the work, the conversation, the research tells us that that's not the case. What it does often is it has a different effect
wow.
where the person may feel isolated. They may feel that no one sees them, that no one's understanding their struggle. They're just walking around in this cloud and nobody is reaching out to them. But what that does is that gives them that moment to, if they are there, someone sees me, someone cares enough to ask me, and this may be my only shot to tell someone that this is something that I've thought about. And so it really gives people a chance to be seen, a chance to be heard. And a lot of times when we're struggling, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're waiting for. Like when we're in these isolated situations, the thing that we want is for somebody just to show us that they care about us. And that may be the thing that saves someone. So that is definitely one of the big myths that we talk about in this
I'll
space.
say I've heard that as well. Like as a clinician in this space, I know throughout grad school, like hearing other like my colleagues talking about like, well, I'm afraid to talk about it because I don't want to put the idea in this client's head. And even as parents, like I can imagine, I
Mhm.
don't want to talk to my kids about suicide because I don't want them to start thinking about it if I bring it up to them. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And that's really not the case. And we encourage people to reach out and have those conversations, and then be able, if you can, to help them navigate the what comes
Mhm.
next, like finding supports and
Yeah.
things like that. But we don't want people to be shy in doing that, because you really might save a life
Absolutely.
by doing
Absolutely.
that.
That was a good one. Okay, what's the next one? What's another myth that we often hear about suicide, especially as it pertains to our youth?
Yeah, I think the next one, especially in our historically marginalized youth, like we hear a lot that this isn't an issue that impacts them,
Mm,
right? Like this isn't an issue that, particularly like Black youth, that they're not thinking about suicide. They're not talking about suicide. That's a white issue. This is not one that we typically do.
yeah.
Like we don't do that. And unfortunately, it is the case that our young people are attempting more, and they're dying by suicide more.
Black
Like
youth?
there's data, some CDC. Yes, Black youth in particularly. Really, we've been seeing.
McDonald's Change of Fashion program is helping boost the careers of 5 rising Black designers. Why does it matter? We asked fashion journalist Zoe Washington.
Black culture has a major influence on fashion that helps the industry generate $350 billion in the U.S. alone, but only 7.3% of American designers are Black.
So McDonald's is helping boost the careers of 5 rising Black designers. Learn more on IG at We Are Golden.
Statistics provided by ZP.com as of 2021 and Statista.com.
Increases across most youth, but it typically now, I mean, in recent years, especially around 2018, we've been seeing these consistent increases in Black youth and Hispanic youth that we've been seeing go up, and particularly among the ages of like 10 to 24 is what we've been seeing. And so there was a significant increase from 2018 to 2021 in our Black youth. And we've been seeing some consistent increases in suicide attempts and death among Hispanic youth. And so for folks that feel like, this isn't something that happens in our community, it certainly does. And it certainly, warrants us to do exactly what you're doing today, like having these conversations, debunking these myths, like really having these spaces where you can ask about it, learn more about it, talk about it, because the truth of the matter is that our young people
absolutely.
Talk about
it. If we think there are or they aren't, they're talking about it either way.
They absolutely are, and they're in a space. I say like they're in this space where the stigma that we grew up with around mental health, suicide, and things like that, they don't have that in the way that we did. And so as a part of that, they're talking about it. And if we're not a part of the conversation, if they don't ever hear us bring it up or ever hear us talk about it, then in that space, they're not thinking about talking about it with us. They're going to go to their peers. And so it's important for us to let them know that we're also a safe space. We do know that it's something that impacts our youth and that we're here to talk about it as well and to help out as much as we can.
That's so interesting to hear. Yes, our youth, Black youth, are dying by suicide, whether we think they are or they aren't. They're still talking about it. There's having these conversations. That's why having one of us in the rooms, talking about like suicide prevention and suicide resources is so important, because we still hold those stigmas and the myth that Black people don't think about or commit suicide.
Absolutely. It's definitely something that we can continue to hear, like, unfortunately, but I do think that there's starting to be a shift. I do think that people are starting to understand it and be, more aware of it and more willing to talk about it. I've definitely been encouraged, I would say, for sure, in community-based and faith-based organizations have been stepping up to the plate, as well as the Divine Nine, really helping to start to normalize these conversations in community. And that's really who we need to see talking about it and engaging in these conversations to say, let's talk about it. Let's get some resources, like let's help out. And that's been really encouraging, but there's still too many folks, let's put it that way, who don't realize that this is an issue.
Okay, that was another good one. All right, so what's the third one? Give us another myth that we often hear that you're going to debunk for us. This is Suicide Prevention Mythbusters.
Yes, let's do it. I love it. The third one, and the one that I think has come up, is around social media, right? So like social media is the thing, right? So a lot of folks, when we typically talk about like why are youth doing anything? Why are they more aggressive? Why are their mental health declining? Why are they so stressed, or why are they so concerned about their physical appearance? Everything. The simple answer is just like, it's social media, like everything
TikTok,
in social media.
right?
Yes, TikTok, all the things. And the thing I want to say about that is that, yes, like we definitely have, we've seen reports and documentation and things that come out specifically around, really around this issue around social media causing or contributing to or enhancing some mental health challenges. But the one thing I do tell parents, and again, I've worked with youth. I worked with youth on our youth ministry at my church for like 17 years. It's been, so I've worked with youth for like before there was social media. And one thing I've understood is that, or have learned, is that social media can also be a really great place to build connections, especially for youth who have trouble finding them on their own. And COVID has really impacted their ability to have social interactions. It's changed their ability really to, engage and find people and connect with them, start conversations. And one of the things social media does is that I can feel more comfortable if I can like type it out versus, saying it out, having that interaction. And so it can be a place to do that. And it's also a place that there are a bunch of resources there. There are youth-led that are youth-led pages in mental health and suicide prevention that are really good, that are safe, that are really encouraging and finding places for our young people to have help. And there are even, resources and social media presence of like the 988 resource and other things like that, NAMI and other places who are trying to engage with young people to say, the resources are here too. We know you're here. We're here also. We're trying to help you as you're scrolling. You may come across something that you may need there. So I just always tell and try to encourage parents, like, don't completely vilify social media. Go along with it because it's not going anywhere right now. It's not going anywhere for a while. So it's better that we find a way to work within it than to vilify
I
it.
love that because, like you said, it's not going anywhere. And for a lot of youth, sometimes they use that as a space where they can connect with people like them, like a space where they can connect with teens, another 15-year-old who's into anime or what have you. Like I'm, able to make these friends, especially since COVID, they might not feel as comfortable kind of making those connections in person. So it can be a tool that we kind of like help to optimize, but it's important to recognize like that's not the thing that's always going to lead your child to experiencing suicidal thoughts. So I'm happy that you clarified that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So that was a nice little game of suicide prevention Mythbusters. So I appreciate your participation.
I love it. I love it. That might be your next hustle. You can go and create something like
Yes,
that.
that's a good idea. I might have to take that. I'll bring you along with me.
Right. I'm
Yes.
with it.
Okay, so transitioning a bit, the first myth that you had busted was that basically youth are still talking about suicide, whether we think they are or we think they aren't, and Black youth are actually committing and experiencing suicidal thoughts. I'm wondering for you, like, what are some pieces of advice that you can give to parents when it comes to suicide, talking about suicide to their children?
Yeah, and I do want to express. I did say this quickly in my bio, but I'm a parent myself. So my kids are 12 and 10, soon to be 13 and 11. Pray for me. I'm gonna have two middle
I'm
schoolers
touching and
next
agree
year.
right now because
But
that's the
hey,
age.
listen,
They gonna
please,
test your gangster at that
please.
age.
Listen, put my name on the altar wherever you go. Just lay it there, please. But so like in doing that and then having kids engaging in those things, like what I would offer to parents really the one thing I would say first and foremost, obviously have the conversation, be open to the conversation, talk about mental health and wellness. A couple of things past that. One for sure, like be open, like be
Yeah.
authentic. Um, it's okay to share pieces of your mental health
Mm,
journey with your kids. It's okay to do that. It's not,
that's good.
you can choose what pieces of it you want to show. My kids know on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock where I am. I'm going on therapy. They know that. They know I have a therapist. I talk about it. They know that
Wow.
that's something that's there for them and something that they can do. They have their own. So having those pieces, it really kind of it shows the modeling of it, like there as well. I think the another thing I would say for sure is that go into the conversation trying as best as you can, because there are things that come out naturally, as best as you can, to be
Okay.
non-judgmental throughout that conversation. There's nothing that will shut down a conversation with a young person faster than you minimizing what they're going
What does
through.
that look like?
If you're
Yeah, go ahead.
like, so I'm gonna put out the one that like always happens. It's always when a young person has a crush or have someone that they like, And an adult is like, you're not going to think about them when you get older, or this is, this is just something temporary. It's so many other people you can get to. You immediately just say, this isn't important. There's nothing, you shouldn't hold this there because the weight doesn't equal how you're responding to it. But I tell folks all the time, and something for us to remember is that we've all been there when we were younger. We all had that person. We had that boyfriend, that girlfriend, that person that we were just like infatuated with it. And either they didn't want nothing to do with us, or they did for a little bit. And then they moved on. And it hurt. Like, it's okay for them to experience that. And I know it comes from a place of, we don't want our kids to experience and struggle with the things that we struggled with. But there are certain pieces that just are part of development. They're just a part of the journey of, becoming an adult. These are things that happen. Like, they're into this now. And so those things hold a different weight. So go into those conversations. I would say really just, being able to empathize. In some ways you can do that. One, maintain eye contact.
I like that.
That's one. Stay off of your phones while they're talking.
Say it again.
Stay off of the phones while they're talking. If they see you doing this and you scrolling Facebook because you're, we a little older.
They on Candy Crush right now.
Right. Not Candy Crush. Right. Like you doing something that, like, an older person, to your age is doing on the phone. What they're seeing is that they're not tapped in. Like, they're not tapped in. That's another way of minimizing what they're saying that's nonverbal communication. That you're minimizing what they're saying. So that's certainly another piece that I would mention there. And again, another thing that you can do to really affirm that space is to repeat back what you're hearing for clarification. Okay. So for example, if a young person is saying that, I was really hoping that I was going to get on this team here. I just transferred from, we moved and I'm in this school. I was the man on the court back at the old school. And now I'm here. And like, now I'm not even able to make the team. Like, I can't even make the team. And, coach is saying maybe next year, maybe another time. And, I'm struggling with it. So as a parent,
let me practice. Let me do it. And you tell me if I'm doing it right or wrong. Okay. All right.
Gotcha.
All right. So you're the team. You didn't make the team. I'm doing reflective listening. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, son. It sounds like you're sad because you didn't make the team. Is that what I'm hearing from you? Rate me.
Exactly. Okay. That's good.
Okay.
That's good. And so once you do that, like, it's really showing them that you're tapped in, right? Like, so you can, go from there. And then once you ask that question, then that gives you a space to affirm them. You can say, listen, like, I get that. I understand that. Like, that's a reasonable response to this. Like, giving them space to say, like, validate their feelings, even if you don't feel that you would have responded that way. So doing that to them is the important piece. Because sometimes we're like, over that? Like, that's what you said? Like, and it's not that. It's really affirming that whatever they're feeling, it's okay for them to feel that and give them that space to talk through. So I think those are like really the tips that I've found to be really helpful and to do that with them. And then follow up. Okay. That's the last thing another thing I would say too is follow up. So after you have a conversation one day, you do that conversation, circling back with them later. And if they don't want to talk to you, tell them that it's okay for them to talk to somebody else. We oftentimes want to be, as parents, we're like, my kid would talk to me about anything. It's probably not realistic. And I'm talking to myself too a little bit.
This is good. This is good.
A little bit. So like, but they go to somebody else. Talk to, your coach, your teacher, your pastor, encourage them to go to somebody else if it's not you.
I love this. So parents being transparent and vulnerable, like sharing their experiences, being non-judgmental, validating the experience and not saying, oh, you upset about that little situation. Nope, not okay to do. Be reflective and you're listening. And also, what was the last one?
The last one was follow up.
Follow up. So you gave us a whole master
Follow
class.
up. But listen, did you see how you did that reflective listening though just now?
I'm surprised.
You see it?
Like I remember all of that.
That was you literally just repeated it back.
No
That's
notes,
perfect.
just like bam, bam, bam.
No notes. Look at
Like,
that.
I feel like those of y'all who are watching this, y'all need to probably watch the replay, especially if you have youth and young adults in your household, so you can know how to respond to times where they might have really intense emotions and they might be experiencing suicidal thoughts. Suicidal thoughts isn't something that's foreign to Black people. Like we experience it too. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so I appreciate your time today, Brandon. What are some other resources for people who want to learn more about this? What are some resources that you can share?
Yeah, I would definitely share, one of which is the Acoma Project. I definitely encourage folks to take a look at that. And Acoma is AAKOMA. But the Acoma Project really works to engage youth really around mental health and suicide prevention. So there are a number of resources on their page that they're able to be in community and do this work. I would also definitely look into Black Mental Health Alliance. Is another one that has a ton of resources on their page. They do healing circles literally up here in Baltimore. Like they're really engaged in community, and so that you can learn more about their work at Black Mental Health Alliance. So they would be another one to get into as well. And then of course, 988 is definitely a resource that's there. 365 really just gives the opportunity for folks to engage with a trained crisis counselor to get additional resources. And particularly for young people, you can text it. They don't like to talk on the phone. They can text someone and get connected to services.
That's what makes that resource so valuable. Like you don't have to pick up your phone and call and talk about it, because it can be shameful to kind of like verbalize those things. But for young people, like they're texters. So like being able to text that information is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where can the people follow you? How can we stay aware of everything that Brandon has going on? Because like I said, you're a true gem.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, sis. I would definitely say, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, and it goes just Black Mental Wellness Lounge on YouTube. Search that, you'll be able to get our page and all of our videos, and to really see some of our engagement with folks such as Dr. Chanda. So definitely come on there and see those videos as well. As well on Facebook and on Instagram at Black Mental Wellness Lounge. You can find all of our pages and all the work that we're doing.
Dope. Okay. Well, you are out here doing the work. We appreciate you and we see you. Thank you again for coming today. And make sure that y'all tune in next Thursday to the Paging Dr. Chanda show, where we are talking about suicide prevention and awareness all month long. And don't forget, y'all, you have the power to create the emotions that you want to experience. God bless.